At your request, we will now lift the call on file item 54. Mr. Secretary, please lift the call on file item 54 and call the absent members.
Alquist, Berryhill, Emerson, Huff, Kehoe, Wyland. Harmon, I to no.
This is a 27-vote item. Call the absent members.
Alquist, Berryhill, Emerson, Huff, Kehoe, I, Wyland.
Call the absent members.
Alquist, Berryhill, Emerson, Huff, Wyland.
Ayes 25, noes 10. Senator Correa, would you like me to replace the call? Senator Correa has requested that we replace the call. Senator Rod Wright, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
On file item 92.
Senator Wright asks that we lift the call on file item 92. Mr. Secretary, please lift the call and call the absent members.
Alquist, Hernandez, I, Kehoe, Negrete McLeod, I, Steinberg. Steinberg, I. Dutton, no to I. Steinberg, I to no.
Members, once again, this is a 27-vote measure. A 27-vote measure in that it amends the Political Reform Act.
Strickland, I to no.
Call the absent members.
Alquist, Kehoe. Kehoe, no.
Senator Wright, would you like to replace the call? Senator Wright asks that we replace the call. It is ayes 19, noes 20. Senator Wright has asked that we replace the call. One moment, please, members. Members, we are returning to the file at file item 160. Again, we are back to Assembly third reading. We are at file item 160. Senator Lowenthal, do you wish to take up this item? File item 161 has no floor manager. File item 160. Senator Hancock, forgive me. Would you like to take up this item? File item 162, Senator Lowenthal. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Bill 532 by Assemblymember V. Manuel Perez, enacting to pupil assessments.
Thank you. AB 532, Mr. President, members. You know, there are 1.5 million students enrolled in our public school. Of the 1.5 million, approximately, and we heard in the discussion this past week, approximately somewhere about 25% of the students are English language learners. The existing now accountability and assessment system is really unable to accurately assess the academic knowledge of English language learners. Only the scores of the English achievement tests are included in the calculation of academic performance index and in the adequate yearly performance measure. What AB 532 does is it begins a process. It gives the superintendent of public instruction in consultation with individuals of experience in developing academic assessments specific to English language learners to begin to determine what accommodations will be used in any successor system. So it begins that process, as we talked about last week, or earlier this week, of the development of the newer successor system in assessment. The results of these assessments will be integrated into any measure or index that we're going to use for our federal and state accountability purposes. There is no opposition to this measure. I respectfully ask your aye vote for something that we really want to do, and I think it's important to put that into process. I urge your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, no Berryhill, no Blakesley. Calderon, aye Cannella, no Corbett. Correa, aye De Leon, aye DeSaulnier, aye Dutton, no Emerson, no Evans, aye Fuller, no Gaines, no Hancock, aye Harmon, no Hernandez, aye Huff, no Kehoe, aye LaMalfa, no Leno, aye Ted Lieu, Carol Lieu, aye Lowenthal, aye Negrete McLeod, aye Padilla, aye Pavley, aye Price, aye Rubio, aye Runner, no Semidian,
Aye.
aye Steinberg, aye Strickland, no Vargas, aye Walters, Wolk, aye Wright, aye Wyland, no Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Alquist, Blakesley, no. Corbett, Ted Lieu, aye. Walters, Walters, no.
Ayes 23, noes 15. The bill is passed. Members, at this time, if I could have your attention, please, for an announcement. At this time, the regular session will stand in recess, and the first extraordinary session will be convened. Once again, the regular session will stand in recess, and the first extraordinary session will be convened. The prayer and the pledge will be deemed complete, and we will go first to Senator Leno under motions and resolutions. Senator Leno, for what purpose do you rise? We are in the first extraordinary session, members.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motions and resolutions.
Under motions and resolutions, please proceed.
Sure. I move to withdraw AB 30 from the first extraordinary session from the Budget and Fiscal Review Committee and order it to third reading.
Call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, Berryhill, Blakesley, Calderon, Cannella, aye. Corbett, Correa, aye De Leon, aye DeSaulnier, aye Dutton, aye Emerson, aye Evans, aye Fuller, aye Gaines, aye Hancock, aye Harmon, aye Hernandez, aye Huff, aye Kehoe, aye LaMalfa, aye Leno, aye Ted Lieu, aye Carol Lieu, aye Lowenthal, aye Negrete McLeod, aye Padilla, aye Pavley, aye Price, aye Rubio, aye Runner, aye Semidian, aye Steinberg, Strickland, aye Vargas, aye Walters, aye Wolk, aye Wright, aye Wyland, aye Yee. Yee, aye. Anderson, aye.
Call the absent members.
Berryhill, aye. Blakesley, Calderon, aye. Corbett, Steinberg.
Ayes 36, noes 0. The motion carries. Members, is there any further business in the first extraordinary session at this time? Seeing and hearing none, then at this time the first extraordinary session will stand in recess and the regular session will be reconvened. We are back in regular session. Senator Steinberg, not at his desk. When Senator Steinberg returns, members, we do have governor's appointments to take up before the close of business today. That being the case, we will return to the daily file. We are back on Assembly third reading at file item 163 to be amended. File item 164, is there a floor manager? File item 165, Senator Steinberg, not at his desk. File item 166, Senator De Leon. Pass and retain. File item 167 to be amended. File item 168, Senator Rubio, are you prepared to take up this item? Passing. File item 169, it is to be amended. File item 170, there is no floor manager. File item 171, no floor manager. File item 172, Senator Ted Lieu. Pass. File item 173, Senator Hernandez. To be amended, forgive me, Senator. File item 174, Senator Ted Lieu. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1310 by Assembly Member Furutani, enacting to education.
Mr. President, Senators, this bill directs the Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development Agency to develop one single strategic plan for connecting the delivery of career, technical education, and workforce development in California. Our current workforce development system has been developed as a patchwork of different programs of varying agencies. In many circumstances, these agencies receive state and federal dollars to aid the same population who are seeking job training and basic skills. In these tough economic times, we need to find more efficient methods of delivering career technical education and workforce development. Resolve requests, and I vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, Berryhill, no. Blakeslee, no. Calderon, I. Cannella, Corbett, Correa, I. De Leon, DeSaulnier, I. Dutton, no. Emerson, Evans, I. Fuller, no. Gaines, no. Hancock, Harmon, no. Hernandez, I. Huff, no. Kehoe, I. LaMalfa, no. Leno, I. Ted Lieu, I. Carol Lieu, I. Lowenthal, I. Negrete McLeod, I. Padilla, I. Pavley, I. Price, I. Rubio, I. Runner, no. Smidian, I. Steinberg, I. Strickland, no. Vargas, I. Walters, no. Wolk, I. Wright, I. Wyland, I. Yee, Yee, I. Alquist, Anderson, no. Cannella, I. Corbett, I. De Leon, I. Emerson, no. Hancock, I.
Ayes 26, noes 13. The bill is passed. Members, we will take up just a couple more items before we go to governor's appointments. File item 175 to be amended. File item 176 to be amended. File item 177 to be amended. File item 178, Senator Evans. Pass. File item 179, Senator Lowenthal. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 9 by Assembly Member Amiano, enacting to pupil rights.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. AB 9 is named after Seth Walsh, who tragically took his own life after years of relentless harassment and bullying which he experienced at his school in Tehachapi, California. Seth's mother and close friends report that teachers and school administrators were aware that Seth was being harassed and in some instances actually participated in the harassment. Yet Seth's mother's pleas to the school for help were brushed aside due to the district's vague policies and lack of implementation. Research shows that students who are bullied at school frequently suffer long-term social, emotional, and psychological harm. The most effective way to reduce the harm is to create a school-wide culture of inclusion and respect for differences. Existing law does not adequately protect young people from school-based intimidation and bullying. AB 9 will ensure that existing laws are effective and enforced by requiring every school district to take concrete steps to improve school climate. AB 9 builds on the Safe Places to Learn Act by requiring schools to adopt comprehensive policies, prohibiting intimidation and bullying in their existing anti-discrimination and anti-harassment policies. Thank you. Establishing a process for receiving and investigating complaints of intimidation and bullying, ensuring personnel intervene in bullying, create an appeal process for decisions, and provide bullying prevention resources to schools and families. According to the NEA, each day 160,000 students miss school because of bullying. A bully is 6 times more likely to be incarcerated by the ages of 24 and 5 times more likely to have a serious criminal record when he or she grows up. In schools where there are bullying programs, bullying is reduced by 50%. Implementing AB 9 will save schools money and save students' lives. Thank you, and I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Leno. One moment, please, Senator Leno. Members? One moment, Senator Leno. One moment, please, Senator Leno. Could we have quiet in the House, please? Senator Leno, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, for bringing the room to attention. This is no small issue, colleagues, and it's not a lesbian and gay, bisexual, transgender issue. It's about kids who are so harassed, so seriously frightened by going to school that they stop going to school, even if they don't hang themselves from the tree in their parents' backyard in Tehachapi, because they were perceived to be different, whatever that means. If we're concerned about the dropout rate, we want to make sure kids feel safe to go to school. If we're concerned about too many kids falling behind in their studies, we've got to make sure they feel safe when they come to school. This bill has been cut and cut and cut and cut because of fiscal reasons. It's about a fraction of the bill it was when it started in the Assembly because of costs, and we get that. The remaining part of the bill is very important, and so I just urge everyone to give this serious consideration. It's about not just saving lives in the short term, but making sure kids have a life because they'll stay in school, hopefully get that high school diploma, and have a chance to survive and go forward. So please give this serious thought. I ask for an aye vote.
Any additional debate? If not, Senator Lowenthal.
I urge an aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, no Berryhill, no Blakesley, no Calderon, aye Canella, no Corbett, aye Correa, aye De Leon, aye DeSaulnier, aye Dutton, no Emerson, no Evans, aye Fuller, no Gaines, no Hancock, aye Herman, no Hernandez, aye Huff, no Kehoe, aye Lamalfa, no Leno, aye Ted Lieu, aye Carol Lieu, aye Lowenthal, aye Negrete McLeod, aye Padilla, aye Pavley, aye Price, aye Rubio, aye Runner, no Semidian, aye Steinberg, aye Strickland, Vargas, aye Walters, no Wolk, aye Wright, aye Wyland, no Yee. Yee aye.
Ayes 24. That is ayes 24, noes 14. The bill is passed. Senator Price, it occurs to me that you are presiding tomorrow. Would you like to take up file item 187 at this time?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would.
Thank you.
Like
then,
that.
members, let's go to file item 187 and allow Senator Price to present as soon as the Secretary reads.
Assembly Bill 901 by Assembly Member V. Manuel Perez, enacting to economic development.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, AB 901 updates terms and makes clarifications to assist the successful implementation of federal and state small business acts of 2010. The Federal Small Business Jobs Act provides $168 million in new dollars for California small businesses. Some of these funds will be administered through federal agencies, such as the Small Business Administration, while others will be awarded and implemented through existing state programs, such as the Capital Access Loan Program. Collectively, these programs offer unique new financing and technical assistance opportunities to California's small businesses. AB 901 helps to ensure there are no technical hurdles to impede the successful delivery of these funds. In addition, the bill adds accountability provisions related to how the funds are used by specifying that the annual programmatic report include the total number of businesses served, jobs created, jobs retained, and the types of businesses served. This is a good bill, members, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, Berryhill, I. Blakeslee, I. Calderon, I. Canella, I. Corbett, I. Correa, I. De Leon, I. DeSaulnier, I. Dutton, I. Emerson, I. Evans, I. Fuller, I. Gaines, I. Hancock, I. Harmon, I. Hernandez, Huff, I. Kehoe, I. LaMalfa, I. Leno, I. Ted Lieu, I. Carol Lieu, I. Lowenthal, I. Negrete McLeod, I. Padilla, I. Pavley, I. Price, I. Rubio, I. Runner, I. Semidian, I. Steinberg, I. Strickland, I. Vargas, I. Walters, I. Wolk, I. Wright, Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Alquist, Anderson, I. Hernandez, I. Wright. Wright, aye.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The bill is passed. Senator Steinberg, would you like to take up governor's appointments at this time, sir? We will go to Senator Steinberg at Senator Steinberg's desk for governor's appointments, members.
Okay. Go slow. File item 28, if I may.
Members,
Please.
we will go to file item 28. This is a governor's appointment. Senator Steinberg, please proceed.
Thank you very much. This is the nomination of Peter J. Gravitt as the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. I brought this up yesterday, and our colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle asked for a little additional time, and I now understand that they are okay with this going forward. Again, this is a gentleman with the LAPD for 22 years, the Army National Guard. Urge an aye vote on Peter J. Gravitt.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? There is. Please call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, I. Berryhill, I. Blakeslee, I. Calderon, I. Canella, I. Corbett, I. Correa, I. De Leon, I. DeSaulnier, I. Dutton, I. Emerson, I. Evans, I. Fuller, I. Gaines, I. Hancock, Harmon, I. Hernandez, I. Huff, I. Kehoe, I. LaMalfa, I. Leno, I. Ted Lieu, I. Carol Lieu, Lowenthal, I. Negrete McLeod, I. Padilla, Pavley, I. Price, I. Rubio, I. Runner, I. Semidian,
Aye.
I. Steinberg, I. Strickland, I. Vargas, I. Walters, I. Wolk, I. Wright, I. Wyland, Yee. Yee, aye. Hancock, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Alquist, Carol Lieu, I. Padilla, I. Wyland.
Ayes 38, noes 0. The appointment is confirmed. Senator Steinberg, you have other items under governor's appointment.
File item 29, please. This is, if
File
I may,
item 29.
this is the nomination of Jack Bayless as a member of the Fish and Game Commission. Mr. Bayless was heard on the 24th of August, and the Rules Committee approved on a vote of 4-1 very knowledgeable about ocean natural resources. His business experience dealing with desalination makes him an important voice in our state's fish and wildlife management. I'd urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Harman. Senator Harman, at Senator Harman's desk, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this nominee. This is a very important appointment from my perspective. As many of you know, I'm an outdoorsman, a member of the Outdoor Caucus, a hunter and a fisherman. This is a fish and game appointment. I had a long meeting with Mr. Bayless in my office, and he answered questions that I had for him there and answered questions before the committee. He has very strong environmental credentials, and that made me a little bit apprehensive that he would be an anti-fishing, anti-hunting type of person. But I came to the conclusion that he will be fair and equitable, and that we will, from the outdoor enthusiast standpoint, be able to work with him. I think that he will work with fishing clubs and hunting clubs and things like that around the state. I think he will do a good job, and I urge an aye vote for this particular individual.
Members, is there additional debate or discussion? Senator Steinberg, any closing comments?
No. Thank you.
Then we'll ask the Secretary to call the roll.
What's that?
Alquist, Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. No. DeSaulnier. No. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hernandez. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Rubio. I. Runner. I. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Vargas. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye.
Ayes 34, noes 2. The appointment is confirmed. Senator Steinberg.
This is file item 30. This is the nomination of Jacob A. Applesmith as Director of the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control. Mr. Applesmith is a highly qualified nominee, approved on a 5-0 vote. The committee did have some concern about the number of hats that Mr. Applesmith wears in the administration, just wondering whether one even very talented person can do a couple different jobs. Turns out that he is not the acting director of the BT&H as we had thought. He does help, in fact takes the lead on the gaming compact issues, but I'm confident that he can do both that and be the director of this important department, and I would urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Leno. Members, if I could have your attention, please. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just getting to know Director Applesmith currently. As you can imagine, we have a few issues with ABC in San Francisco now and again, and the few that I've had to address with him, he has been immediately responsive. I have very high hopes for him stepping into what can be a very complex and tricky position, and so I would urge your support in his confirmation.
Members, any additional debate or discussion? If not, Senator Steinberg, would you like to close? If not, then we'll ask that the Secretary call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Rubio. I. Runner. I. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The appointment is confirmed. And Senator Steinberg, I believe you have at least one other item?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is file item 37. These are the appointments of Charlotte Mello as a member of the Correction Standards Authority, Cynthia Bryant and Cornelius Gallagher as members of the Cal Expo and State Fair Board, Jesse Choper as a member of the California Horse Racing Board, and Michael C. Gardner, Helen Knudsen, and Amir J. Makari as members of the Alfred E. Alquist Seismic Safety Commission. They were heard yesterday in the Rules Committee and approved on a 5-0 vote. We urge an aye vote.
Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on these nominees? We'll take one moment and ask if there's any objection to substituting the unanimous roll call on these nominees. Any objection? If not, then the nominees will be confirmed. Ayes 39, noes 0. The nominees are confirmed. Members, before anyone vacates the premises, I understand, have a procedural matter to resolve, and I'm going to ask first if there are motions and resolutions to take up at this time. Senator Keogh, for what purpose do you rise?
Just to remind you, Mr. President, we still have item 42 on call.
Yes, we do. So,
and I would lift the call whenever you're prepared.
I think we are not yet prepared on that item. One moment, please. Senator Kehoe, let me make sure that both sides of the aisle are prepared. We had some procedural issues that we wanted to resolve. I believe that they have now been resolved. I'm getting the affirmative nod. Then what we'll do is we'll go to items where we can lift the call, members. We have 3 items remaining. We will lift the call beginning with your item, Senator Kehoe, which is file item 42. Please lift the call, Mr. Secretary, and call the absent members.
Alquist. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Cannella. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Fuller. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Runner. Aye. Strickland.
Ayes 29, noes 8 on the urgency. Ayes 29, noes 8 on the bill. The bill is passed. Members, that takes us to file item 54. Senator Correa, we will lift the call on file item 54. Mr. Secretary, please lift the call and call the absent members.
Alquist. Berryhill. Emerson. Huff. Wyland.
Members, this is a 27-vote bill. Please call the absent members.
Alquist. Berryhill. Emerson. Huff. Wyland.
Senator Correa, the ayes are 25, the noes are 10. The bill fails. It is a 27-vote item. The amendments are not concurred in. Senator Correa does ask for reconsideration, and without objection, reconsideration will be granted on a unanimous vote of ayes 39, noes 0. Reconsideration is granted. We have one other item on the list of bills on call. That is file item 92. Let's call this item. Let me ask just one time, Senator. Call the absent members.
Alquist.
Ayes 19, noes 20. The measure fails. Senator Wright requests reconsideration. Without objection, reconsideration will be granted. There is no objection. It is ayes 39, no 0, substituting our unanimous roll call. Ayes 39, no 0 on reconsideration. Members, are there any items to bring up at this time under motions and resolutions? One moment, please. We have items under motions and resolutions. Members, without objection, pursuant to Joint Rule 33.1, Joint Rule 61A12 will be suspended to allow the Labor Committee to hear and report AB 1426. This request has been approved by the Rules Committee. Once again, without objection, is there any objection? Seeing and hearing none, so ordered, the rule will be suspended. Then, members, without objection, Joint Rule 62A will be suspended for AB 1426. Is there any objection? Seeing and hearing none, will be suspended. Members, are there any other items under motions and resolutions at this time? Let me look to the desk staff. There are no other items. Let me look to the members. Are there any other items under motions and resolutions? If not, and there is no other business, Senator Steinberg. Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate will convene at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll go several hours. Today we completed about 50 bills, so it's not quite the pace of early in the week, but we're making steady progress, and we just keep working, and we'll be fine next week.
Senator
9 o'clock.
Senator Steinberg, just to reconfirm, that is 9 a.m., not the 10 a.m. start time that we've been accustomed to these last few days?
Yeah.
9 a.m.
And I would just urge members to be, as the Majority Leader points out, on time, because the earlier we get started, the earlier the Friday will end.
Thank you. Then, one moment, please, members. One moment, please. We may have an announcement before we adjourn. Senator Leno, we're struggling to hold 40 members. Senator DeSaulnier, for what purpose do you rise? Members, if I could have your attention.
Announcement for committee tomorrow.
Senator, one moment, Senator. Senator DeSaulnier, for what purpose do you rise?
Committee announcement tomorrow. Sub 3 will have a hearing in 4203 in regards to hear the administration's update on the implementation of transition plan for adult day health care. That will be upon adjournment of governance and finance.
Thank you for that announcement, Senator. Senator Wolk, for what purpose, ma'am?
Committee announcements.
Please.
Governance and Finance will be meeting to consider one bill tomorrow at the adjournment of session. I'll make an announcement tomorrow.
Members, before you vacate, we do have 2 bills on consent. We're going to ask the Secretary to read those bills that are on consent. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 34 and Senate Concurrent Resolution 52.
Members, those are the 2 bills on consent. Is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call of ayes 39, no 0? Seeing and hearing no objection, the consent calendar is approved. Ayes 39, no 0. Members, the Senate will adjourn immediately upon the banging of the gavel, and we will reconvene tomorrow morning, Friday at 9 a.m. Without objection, we are adjourned.